Today on the Fairy BOSSmother Show,
Hi.
you know you are better than ChatGPT. I sat with returning guest Stephanie Chabot, a sharp-witted copywriter
I'm Stephanie Chabot, and I eat ChatGPT for lunch.
who's worked with dozens of small business owners across the country.
As a copywriter, I think it's really important I bring that outside perspective to your business.
When I first built her personal brand, I gave Stephanie the tagline that stuck: Chabot, not chatbot.
You said, when I look at your name, Chabot, I just see ChatBot. So
Yeah.
there's definitely something fun we can do.
It helped people finally remember her, but a name isn't enough. Let me use what chatbot or the ChatGPT has given you, and let's humanize it a lot more. Like, let's crank up the humanization up to 80. This is, I think, the entry level of getting more clients for your business. Stephanie says she's evolving, letting go of old services, gaining confidence, and leaning into her expertise. But here's what I noticed. She's still filtering herself. She hasn't made space for her full identity. I want to see that fighter. I want to see you on the map, but now you're on social media. This is a woman who trains in MMA and Krav Maga, who's got the mindset of a fighter. Can I help her stop blending in and finally lead with power? Hey kid, your mother, Stephanie, is a freaking badass. Let's meet Stephanie Chabot. Now, before we meet Stephanie, I asked her a few basic questions about her business to see how she's starting to talk about herself in this new refined era for her personal brand. Let's take a look. When I asked Stephanie, what's your business all about? Stephanie said, copywriting primarily for women business owners, but you know all about my business. I absolutely know so much about Stephanie's business. I want to see whether Stephanie has evolved and grown into her personal brand just the way I expected her to when we first met, or whether she's still squirming within that box that we created for her. I really want her to burst open. So it'll be interesting to see how much she's done after our work together. When I asked Stephanie, what are your main goals for your business right now? Stephanie said, shifting toward web copy as my main offering and doing away with blogging. I also want to then establish offers like landing sales page copy, email copy, and VIP dates exclusively for clients I've worked with before on their web copy. These are ideas I'm still playing around with, nothing solid, but still have to work out the strategy and systems. I mean, clearly it looks like Stephanie is looking to step into her niche even further because she's now refining her process. She's evolving her business from what it used to be. So I'm going to see whether she's pulling her personal brand with this new business structure or whether she's left that version of Stephanie behind. And if a professional, more business version of her is taking her place, which is actually a red flag for me. When I asked her, what are your biggest challenges for your business right now? She says, how to build a pipeline of web copy clients so I'm booked up for a few months. Also, how to then retain some of those clients for returning work like landing page and email copy services. This is a typical problem for a lot of businesses that are now evolving into the next stage of their business. She needs to figure out a system that not only funnels in new clients, but contains those clients so that it's part of a larger infrastructure. I'm going to see whether Stephanie has thought about how her personal brand can actually bring in those clients and keep those clients from going to anyone else in the future. Last but not least, I asked Stephanie if she's done any work on her personal brand. And she said, yes, the brand blueprint and the web redesign with you last year. Wow. Let's meet Stephanie Chabot. Stephanie, welcome to the Fairy BOSSmother Show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm excited to finally be doing this with you.
Well, welcome to the hardest podcast ever, maybe. You can tell me whether this was a challenge or not.
I will.
So, Stephanie, would you like the full-on boss mode where it's hard, make you uncomfortable and challenging, and the gloves are off, or do you want the kiddie gloves on?
All right. Well, you know, we're both boxers, so you can take the gloves off.
All right, gloves are off. Where's your gloves?
Yeah. No kid gloves.
No kids gloves. All right, Stephanie, that's great. I would love to learn more about you. I mean, you and I know each other's work really, really well. But for the sake of the audience, please tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure. So I am Stephanie Chabot. I own Chabot Creative, and I offer copywriting services for specifically small women-owned businesses. And I specialize in web copywriting and sales pages, email copywriting, all of the words for your marketing, basically.
Yeah. So, what, take us back a little bit. What made you decide, what, this is what my business is going to be?
Yeah, it took a while. My background is in marketing, and I've always been creative. Like since I was a kid, I was creative. I ended up going into marketing and communications in college. I got jobs in that field, and I wanted to try my hand at a variety of things. So, I worked as a copywriter and got experience there, learned, trial by fire about search engine optimization or SEO at my first job, which we were not learning in college back when I was there.
Yeah, so
So
much fun.
come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's obviously another big element of what I do is optimizing people's copy. But I did, in my corporate jobs, I got my hands on a lot of different types of projects and marketing work, which was great. But by the time I was ready to start my own business, I knew I just wanted to take it back to what I always felt was my strength, what I was most confident in, and what I felt I'd be able to, contribute and help fellow small business owners most with was the words. That's always been my thing.
Yeah,
Big word
okay.
here. So
All right, Stephanie. So you mentioned you wanted to focus on your strengths. What are your strengths?
So, as a copywriter, I think that it's really important that I bring that outside perspective to your business. And that is a big part of what I do. That is one of my major strengths is to see because, business owners, you're so close to your business that, and Telling from what you do as a branding consultant, and it's so hard to see your business when you're so in your business, like to see it as one of your ideal clients and like how you're sounding and coming off to them and how to like resonate with them through that messaging. That's like my thing. And I love helping people find that and find the words to express that in a way that feels really good to them and makes them a hell yes with their ideal clients, like their dream clients. And there is a way to do both, but people get so intimidated by like trying to come up with the words. They're like, oh my gosh, like it's been holding up my website. It's been holding up this launch. It's been holding up whatever this important piece of my marketing is. So they're just not getting out there. So, helping them do that and find the words, which are their words. They just need someone to like weave it all together.
Because I think there's like an element of like perfectionism, right? When that's stopping them from launching, from selling, from getting in front of people.
Right.
And you mentioned that it's quite intimidating, especially because they kind of know what they want to say. They try to do it themselves and it comes out as a hot mess.
Yes.
So they need somebody to be able to say, well, let's pull the blinds back a little bit more and focus on an area that really shows off what it is that you do, but in writing so that everyone else can see.
Right. And bringing both their personality through, but showing the value that they offer their clients. I mean, there's a way to do both, right? To like show who you are, but make it about your people, your audience, right? So, and it doesn't have to be so scary. And so many people I work with, they're like, oh my gosh, like I just hate writing or whatever, or I hate writing about my own business. And I get it because I get the perfectionism thing. I'm a major perfectionist, so I can totally relate to that as well. And your business is, it's like super special. It's like you're like, oh my gosh, what if I don't get it right? So that's where I come in.
I'm really surprised you said that you're a perfectionist because you were one of the most easygoing people that I've ever worked with.
That's because I think by the time I worked with you, I was excited to like have someone else's perspective and eyes on my brand, and I hadn't done that before. And I was just like, yep, you know what? Like, I'm gonna let her take it over. It's funny, but when I'm trying to do stuff for my own business, like but if you remember, the part that held us up the most was me writing my own copy.
Yeah, which is funny because that's exactly what you do, right?
It is. It is. But I'm the same way as my clients. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's so, I love doing it for other people, but doing it for my own business, I'm like, I get stumped sometimes too. So again, can relate.
Yeah. All right. So let's pivot a little bit. So what made you decide, Stephanie, that you are now ready to be on the Fairy BOSSmother Show?
Well, I think because we went through that brand refresh and everything and, the redesign, it's been like a year, which is crazy. So it's been a really good time to like reflect on where my business is going and how that whole process has helped me get where I am and now setting me up for the next stages of my business.
Yeah, so let's give the audience a little bit more context between the work that we did. So accidentally, Stephanie, we came up with your tagline. Do you want to share what that is and how we came across that tagline?
Yeah. So the tagline, Chabot, not chatbot. So
Mm.
obviously Chabot is my last name. And I know we were talking about it. And I think you said when I look at your name, Chabot, I just see chatbot. So
Yeah.
there's definitely something fun we can do. And I remember that conversation because I was like, you are not even the first person to say that. And I have to say, ever since we came up with that, I get so many compliments on it. It catches people's eyes. It makes them giggle a little bit. They're like, I like what you did there.
Yeah.
And it really resonates with, people who still value the human written content and don't want to rely on AI to completely like generate all of their copy and their marketing and everything.
So speaking of chatbot, just or ChatGPT or any of those AI generating content making machine, right? You are
Yeah.
obviously not a machine, but you are really, really good at what you do, Stephanie. Do you feel like these AI have been threatening your work and your job and getting clients? And have you had any sort of pushbacks with businesses wanting to work with you when they could be using AI for like $20 per month?
I have not yet.
Oh, good. Okay.
Other writers may feel or say differently. I think I've been fortunate to work with clients and partners who still, like I said, like they do understand the importance of, you know, working with a human. And it's true. AI is great. I am not like, don't use AI. Like, I am not against it at all. It's an amazing tool. I think it's going to change what we do, all of us in branding and marketing. It's going to change our jobs and our roles, but we have to learn how to use it to streamline things and produce better whatever deliverables, whatever results for our clients. But it's not going to, if we do it right, take away from our jobs. And yeah, you can use it for your copy, but you have to think about how much time and energy and research and learning it takes to do it well. Like if you just plop into ChatGPT to write some copy for you and a super high level blurb about what you and your business are about, it's going to give you something that may sound fine, but it's going to be generic. And then you can have like a couple other friends probably do the same thing. And if they're in the same industries or whatever, and it's going to spit something out that's very similar for people in the same industry. It's going to sound very similar. It's going to have that same cadence because
Yeah.
we know ChatGPT has that sentence structure and that cadence. So there's all this nuance that it doesn't pick up on, or if you want it to pick up on it, you have to like do a ton of research and time experimenting with like all that prompt engineering. So you really have to think about what is it going to give you, and is it what you really want and need? Is it going to actually nail your voice and your messaging? And do you want to spend that kind of time learning how to use it? So yeah.
Refinement is key when it comes to AI. You need to train it, you need to keep talking to it. And the more it understands you, the more is able to personalize and mimic basically who you are and what you do. So
Exactly.
speaking of who you are and what you do, let's ditch the business stuff. I want to get to know a little bit more about what your next steps are, Stephanie. So like you mentioned, we did the rebrand. I think it was well over a year ago now. And
Yeah.
what I'm going to show the audience what your website is looking like. And then we're going to go on social media because I don't know if you've done anything on your social media since.
I have been quiet.
She's laughing. She's laughing. All right. So I'm going to check that out in a minute. But Stephanie, since then, how has your business been like since working on your rebrand? And what has that done for you as an individual?
Yeah, so the rebrand, it helped give clarity for sure in my business, because you and I didn't just work on like brand identity. We also worked on clarifying and simplifying some, things in my messaging and my services. So that has definitely helped communicate like who I am and how I'm different from other copywriters. I get compliments on my website and the look and everything all the time because I come off as fun and authentic, I think, which is me. And I always try to be like that, again, in working with clients and the experience I bring, as I was saying before, like, making sure it's not an intimidating process for them, but instead like it's easing the whole process. And there's still some work involved, but I'm going to make that a little easier. And then they're going to have this copy that's going to not just be for their website, but help them clarify their message throughout, like across their marketing and branding. So I think all of that really comes across and resonates with people ever since we redid my brand.
Yeah. And then talking a little bit deeper about yourself, one of the things that we did tap into was the fact that you do martial arts and you do Krav Maga. And that's something that you never really touched on. You do talk about it in person, but online, that's something that you didn't really explicitly talk about. And now you've got photos of you actually doing the things that you like doing. You mentioned craft beer, you mentioned Krav Maga, you mentioned all of the other things that make you, and make you Stephanie Chabot, basically. Have you leaned into that a little bit harder, or have you decided, you know what, that's where I'm going to stay?
No, I do lean into that. I talk about it, as you said, and I know we're gonna talk about this more. I've been, on and off social media, it's a whole cobbler shoes scenario for me with social, but I do love like having that as part of my brand and personality. Again, just coming back to like what sets me apart and getting to know me. And I think that's important for people when I'm working with them on the same thing. And I'm encouraging them like, hey, like tell me a little bit about your personality, because in what I do, a lot of people are very hesitant to tell their own story and talk about themselves. And they're like, but that doesn't apply. That's not relevant for my business. I'm like, you may not think so, but like your audience still wants to get to know you. So in sharing about myself, I can like use myself as an example, right? Of like, I put some fun stuff about me and it helped you get to know me and like build that, what we love to say in marketing and branding, the like no trust factor. So I do love, having that more personal stuff on there to connect with people and build the relationship with my clients too, to make it a little bit more meaningful.
All right. So Stephanie, that's what's happening. That's what happened last year. Some of the things that you're doing right now, I know you're going through a little bit more of a brand evolution because there's a lot more things that you're working on in your business. You're upgrading your services, which is great because that shows signs of growth because you have outgrown some of the services that you started, back when you and I worked, which is amazing. But I want us to do a little bit of time traveling and go forward in time. 20 years from now, where do you see yourself?
20 years.
20 years. 20 years. Forget 5 years. 5 years is like tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I've thought that far ahead. That is a tough one. That's so far. I mean, but ideally, I love what I do with the web copywriting and helping people. So right now, and who's to say that things won't change, building my business to continue working with these brands and helping them with their messaging and just growing my business. And also in a way that serves me, which I think like the work we did was a really important first step to that, building my business, doing the services that I like most, and remembering that like I don't need to do things that I don't enjoy. That's the whole point of starting your own business. So, and of course, it'll be a continuous like evolution, as we know, with having our own business.
So I'm going to reframe it slightly differently because I know I can see you're really struggling with this one. I know it's one of those like resume questions of what are you going to do in the next 5 years for our company? It's not that. It's looking at, right, what do I want my legacy to be? What do I want to leave behind for people? What do I want to be known for? And is it really going to be, oh, Stephanie Chabot was a copywriter and she's a business owner? It's like, really, is that what you want people to like immediately think of when it comes to you? So I'm going to reframe it a little bit. Let's imagine like there's no limitations, Stephanie. You're killing it in your business. Like you're making all of the money. You have all of the clients. You have all of the systems in place so that you're not working 24/7 in your business. Because as a copywriter, you are pretty much glued to your desk and physically doing that work, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be doing that your whole life, do you?
No, true.
So what does that look like? So let's assume you do have teams and you have systems in places and things are a little bit more automated where Stephanie does not have to go into the office and physically do this client work because you have something more important going on in your life. You have no time blocks and there's no outside expectations of what you're doing. What do you want to be known for now?
Yeah. So I guess as for like legacy and what I want to be known for, I would want to be known for the impact I've had on people's brands and businesses and how it helped them, not just in that moment of like, oh, she helped me with my copy and it was great, but how it helped them take that next step in their own business.
All right, I don't care about your clients. I'm talking about you, Stephanie, you as an individual, right? Your business is doing great. People trust you. People come to you. You're getting all of the referrals. Whatever you're doing on social media and your website is bringing in clients. You don't have to worry about that part now. So something that the audience don't know, and I hope I don't overstep by saying this, Stephanie, you are having your first child
I am.
very
Yeah.
soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to
Yeah.
be a mum soon and you're going to have your own family. You're going to see that your family is going to start to take more priority than what your clients are doing because
Right.
naturally that's the instinct that's going to take over. So this is what I'm thinking. 20 years from now, your kid is going to be like 19. What does your
Yeah.
life look like? Like, who do you want to be in that moment? How can you become that person now with the actions that you do what you're doing now? That's the
Yeah.
level of personal branding that I'm talking about.
Okay. So in that respect, I guess my long-term vision for my life is to have that flexibility. And, by that point, having been there for my family and not having to, like you said, be strapped to my work, but have the freedom to make memories and be there for my, kid and family and everything, but also be able to support them because at that point, like they could be, going to college or whatever their next step in life will be. So, having that freedom and flexibility and not having been like tied to my own business or a corporate job, but like remembering like look at how the business I built helped me create this life, right?
Yeah,
Of, being able to do just what the heck I want to do.
exactly. Yeah.
And be with my family. And also hopefully like setting an example for my kiddo of like, I did my own thing and you don't have to like do what everyone else does, like the traditional stuff of like the 9 to 5, which is very, I think that those in our generation and now especially like younger people like Gen Z are finally realizing like, oh, we can do our own things. We don't have to like do the 9 to 5 or just like graduate college and go straight to a full-time job. It's like I can start my own venture and build the not just the business like you're saying, but also the life that I want and
Yeah.
work with people I want and then be there for my family in the future.
So let's do a little video message for your kid in the future.
It's like a time capsule video.
Okay, so I'm going to say, hey, kid, your mother, Stephanie, is a freaking badass. She's amazing. Listen to everything she has to say because you're going to benefit so much from everything that she's sharing in the world. That message is for your kid.
Thanks. I'm sure I will need to play that for him at some point because I remember what it was like to be, 18 to 20 and not want to listen to anything your parents say.
Yeah. And the Fairy BOSSmother has just said that. Okay. So you got to
Yeah.
listen to me.
Yeah. Talene says so.
I said so. Stephanie's awesome. But I think this is the area that I think is missing in your business right now, Stephanie, is what's next? What do I do now? And what do I do now so that I am setting myself up for the next 10 years of not just my business, but my life?
Yeah.
And this is the next part because you have the foundation, your anchor's set in place. You are clearly growing. You're growing your business. You're growing your family. You're in growth mode right now in all aspects of life. But then once growth happens, there needs to be consistency again. There needs to be some momentum.
Right.
And then pretty much you need to be on coast mode because you don't want to keep growing and building and rebuilding. You want to be in a position where, you know what, I don't want to do more build stuff because building can get really, really exhausting because it's hard work. It's like you're literally shoveling all the time. And I think this is where a lot of business owners get stuck is building. And that's exactly what you're doing for your clients is, well, I am building your copy so that you can get to the next stage of launching and getting in front of people. So I want to see you on coast mode now where your business is doing great and you're just like, I could just chill and like not do anything right now and money is just flowing into my business at the moment.
Yeah. That would be great.
So what's stopping you from getting to what I'm talking about right now?
Yeah, well, I think last year was very busy in a good way, like tons of growth, a lot of awesome clients and projects. It was my busiest year by far, best revenue and so on. And this year, I I've been taking some time to think about the things I want to continue doing and the things I don't want to continue doing. Because now that I've been at this it'll be 6 years in September with my own business, I've taken some time, or, I've definitely learned like what I want to do and what I don't, basically. Yeah. And again, it comes back to remembering like, oh, I don't have to do, I don't have to do these things that I don't want to do.
Yeah, you're not a business lackey, right?
Right. I'm like, it's my own thing. But I think that a lot of it is like a mindset thing and also strategic, right? So there are some changes I'm currently making transition-wise to stop doing the things I don't want to do, but I felt I had to continue doing to have some continuous income coming in. And I know you and I have talked about this. One big thing is blogging. I believe in its importance, but I don't want to keep doing it anymore just because it's very time consuming for me. Plus doing that on top of doing the big web copy projects, which are of course one-off, but they still take a lot of time and energy, but I love them. I love that kind of writing much more. But my question was always like, well, how can I build my business, build a pipeline, generate enough projects and clients, mainly focusing on one-off projects. Yeah. So that is a strategy I'm working on now with a lot more focus on lead generation and relying more on referral partner outreach and stuff just to stay more top of mind. So that's, I've been a little quiet. I think honestly, it's like I was so busy last year. I'll be super honest. Like I got into kind of a rut this year. I think I got a little burnt out. Plus, like focusing. Definitely. Yeah. And you know how that is. Like you're just like, oh my God. And everyone's like, oh, you're doing so great. And it's like, well, yeah, but now I don't feel great. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to be doing some of what I'm doing anymore. And you don't love to feel like that. Right. And then you just have to have a moment where you're like, well, this is my business. So I don't have to. I can do.
And I think what you mentioned is, it's super important with what you're saying. Success on the outside looks like you're really, really busy. You're killing it in business. Like you're getting lots of clients, you're making the money. But then behind the scenes, it's like you have a 24-hour clock and that 24 hours is just given away to your clients, doing the research, doing the work. And then you're like, oh my God, I have no time left for me. And now what do I do? And then, of course, burnout is going to happen, is inevitable. And I think the next stage of your business, Stephanie, is pretty much finding those anchors, is what I call the foundation, where you need to build a foundation within your own system in your life, not just your business, where you know exactly how much time you're dedicating to your business, and then having a full stop button to say, right, that's it, I'm clocking out. And for the rest of the next 8 hours is dedicated to literally everything else. Yeah. And that includes your head as well. You can't be thinking about work, which is, I know it's really difficult for you as well, because you're just like, my brain is thinking about work, but my body is physically somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that's a big thing that I'm working on now, especially with this major life change. Having a child soon. And, so not only looking at like my business and what I'm doing in it and the services I'm offering and who I'm working with, but also the time freedom with that, right? And just like, okay, so how can I do what I love doing and work less? While still being profitable and feeling like I'm still supporting my family, like bringing, something to the table. And so all of that, it's a lot to work on, but I'm, building some new systems and everything around that I didn't have before, and realizing like, oh, it is possible to do this. I just need to maximize this network and the resources I already have, rely on these partners and past clients more instead of like being one and done and like letting things go and trying to always look for new business too, which is, as you know, it's much harder to get new clients instead of like going back to your old clients and reminding them like, hey, I'm still here. Like, what do you need now? Because they already know and trust you.
Yeah, exactly. I think I know exactly what the answer is for you. You need to go deeper into your personal brand. Right now, we've done the foundation work. A lot of it is very surface level and bringing you out and making sure that your brand is reflecting you in it. So you know what? Let's jump into your website and see what it looks like so the audience can see exactly what we're talking about.
Okay.
I want like, it's been a long time since I've been on your website. So done for you, copywriting by Chabot, not chatbot. And it's really funny. When I came across this, I was typing your name and I accidentally typed in chatbot and not Chabot. And my head went, oh.
That's
like,
really
oh
funny.
my God, Stephanie Chabot. That's crazy.
That's
And
so funny.
that never clicked on for me until I did that. All right. So we are on chatbotcreative.com. All right. So you know what, Stephanie, walk us through your website.
What was that?
Walk me through your website.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. So you know that we're on the homepage. So obviously I wrote all my own copy. And so right away, starting up here with who I help, so who I'm for and you know what I do for them. And so I said empowering brands with messaging magic. And obviously here is where you start to see a little bit of me, more of my personality, and also but using these photos to connect with people and show like the value adds that I bring to the table for them. So how the copy is going to help take their brand to the next level. Yeah, I did a kind of intro to me video last year, which was really cool. Another thing I hadn't done before. So to add a little bit more of a personal, like get to know me element, so you can actually see how I speak and everything. And of course, down here is talking about where my ideal clients are probably at, like how they're stuck, and then going into how I can help them. So basically how their copy, you know, being stuck on their copy is also holding up their business, basically, because they're not getting out there, and then how I'll help them get over that.
And I know you mentioned that there's a few services that you're going to be cycling out. So what we want to do now is focus on the things that you do want to work on. Seeing your website with a fresh eye after all these years, there's new things that I'm seeing that I think could be tweaked. And one of the things that you mentioned was who you actually help in your business. I think we need to drop that completely. So instead of talking about I help B2B businesses, women entrepreneurs, forget about that, because I think we can capture the market in a more, I guess, creative way. Now we want you to be a little bit more higher level in terms of the kind of clients that you bring in. And one of the things that a lot of people are having problems with is exactly what you said at the beginning, Stephanie, chatbot, right? ChatGPT. Let's just name the elephant in the room. Everyone's using ChatGPT, but like you said, if you're in very similar industries, that messaging is going to come up really, really generic. And these individuals and these business owners don't actually know if what they're seeing is really reflective of who they are and what they actually do. Because on paper, they're probably thinking, yeah, I couldn't have written anything better than this. This is great. I'm just going to put it on the website. What they need now is an expert copywriter who knows AI inside out. Plus, you are also an SEO specialist, right, Stephanie?
Yes.
So you're bringing another element to it of, well, okay, so chatbot was, very generic with your messaging. Let me use what chatbot or the ChatGPT has given you, and let's humanize it a lot more. Like, let's crank up the humanization up to 80. This is, I think, the entry level of getting more clients for your business.
Yeah.
Because you're already talking about how, ChatGPT, no copywriter is actually talking about ChatGPT. You and I know this because we looked at like 80 plus copywriting websites. And do you remember what they look like, Stephanie?
They all look the same.
Right.
They looked the same. Yeah. And I think that it's interesting because I have a feeling, obviously I have no like data, but from what I see in, the Facebook business groups, especially the ones I'm in with other marketers and copywriters, there is a fear around AI.
Yeah.
And I think that's why fellow copywriters aren't necessarily talking about it in their own marketing all the time, their own websites, because there's this fear. And I'm not saying that about all copywriters. I do see a lot of writers being like, I can't get a job. Like they're struggling to find work and they feel it's because of AI. And maybe that is true in their experience. But yeah, no, I do like that idea because instead of, and we've already built the foundation, right? With the current messaging and branding where I can take it further, but instead of being afraid of like copyright or AI and not talking about it because you think it's going to like come for your job, instead sharing the difference of yourself as a human copywriter and what you can do that ChatGPT can't.
Here's what I'm imagining for you, Stephanie, just looking at this after all these years. I think we need to go deeper into the Chabot versus chatbot narrative, right? So here you are, this amazing human being talking directly about, let me show you what I see as a copywriter when I look at your website. I can easily tell that this was written by ChatGPT because of all of these tiny little nuanced things. So remember that those dashes?
Yeah.
Humans don't usually use those. ChatGPT does. So that's a telltale sign that you're using ChatGPT, and that's going to undervalue your business. You're going to use those types of words of, you're actually doing yourself a disservice by using ChatGPT because, boom, here's a ChatGPT secret that no one has picked up on. Here's something that ChatGPT does. But if instead of saying this sentence, I would have written it like this, which one do you prefer? Like an A/B testing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're going deeper now into the whole AI thing. So instead of, you mentioned how all of these copywriters are really scared about mentioning the elephant in the room. You are doing the opposite. And you're like, you know what? Chabot versus ChatGPT, let's go. And you're basically putting on your boxing gloves now. And you're having that fight with ChatGPT. And you're not afraid of ChatGPT. You're not afraid of AI. You're not afraid of all of these changes that these businesses are doing. You know that these businesses are taking shortcuts, and further down the line, that's going to bite them in the ass.
Yeah.
That's what I see you doing now, Stephanie. It's going super deep into that.
Yeah, definitely. And as I'm, making these other changes in my business too. And it's funny because I think I just got that feedback from someone else, like showing an example of my work versus something ChatGPT generated. And I know we've talked about that in the past. So, I think it is something that I'm going to dive into next, just to enhance like that whole message. And there's so much content I can create around that too for my own social, and kind of have that as a theme of like me versus AI.
Exactly. And I think that shows off your power in this whole fight. While all of the other copywriters are sitting scared going, oh my God, I can't get a job anymore. People are going to then look at you and saying, you know what, there's a copywriter who's bold, fierce, and unapologetic in what you're saying with AI. You're not dissing AI. You're just saying, well, everyone is using AI. And as a result of everyone using AI, you are all looking the same. Right. So you're basically trying to you're trying to get people to come to the other side. Use AI, but get it verified by a copywriter who knows what she's talking about. Also known as Chabot Creative, right? This is how you build your lead generation funnel now, by talking about something that people are using very, very heavily, very incorrectly, and also they don't really add to those copies. It's basically pretty much copy, paste, done. And you're just going, ooh, oh my God, this is so bad. And then it's bad, Stephanie. Say why it's so bad. This is how you're going to build your audience.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's definitely something I can start incorporating as I'm making the next, changes.
Yeah. Well, Stephanie, we're more than midway in the show. Do you want me to go harder, or shall I pull back a bit?
All right. Well, we've already gone this far, so go for it.
All right. Cool. Right. So that's one of the first things I would do is get your boxing gloves on, Stephanie. The gloves are off with me, but you want to put your bag, I want to see that Krav Maga, Stephanie, come out now. Right? Imagine you are on the floor with a leg lock with ChatGPT. I want to see that girl come out now on social media and saying, you know what, ChatGPT, this is what I do in real life. You're my next opponent.
I love it.
Yeah. So when I say that back to you, Stephanie, how does that make you feel?
Good. I think it's nice to talk about it. And like I said, I think getting into kind of a rut this year and just rethinking things, it's nice to have some fresh inspiration for my messaging and branding and everything. And, even just my own content. Because as we were saying, I haven't been on top of my own social. So having some fresh ideas for valuable content I can create, that also sets me apart and can help with my next goals of the lead generation.
Yeah. And you don't want to do blogging. That's great, because now you can use blog as an example, because again, a lot of business owners are using ChatGPT and any AI as a shortcut, right?
Yeah.
So you can totally use what people have created to your advantage, because you've already got so much material that you could work with.
Yes.
But now it's just coming out publicly and using your voice and using that angle to shine a light on what AI is actually doing to these businesses. Their messaging and their personality is totally getting watered down now. You're not seeing them anymore.
Yeah, it's true. And there's data coming out about how AI generated content, at least when you just take it and copy and paste and don't optimize it, don't make any edits, don't make it like any kind of original. Google punishes you basically. Like it knows at this point, because as we know, and if you don't, I'm telling you now, for everyone else out there, Google is always improving their algorithms. And of course, now AI has been around for a few years and Google knows, Google's learning. So like it can recognize that. So if you're just pumping out purely AI generated content, especially some is very easy to spot, even if you're not a writer, like you don't have to be, but you can go on, you can read an article. And I've seen many like this where I've done research for my other clients, and I see an article that's like the typical like 5 to 7 paragraphs. They're all like this long. They're very generic. The sentence structure, like the way it sounds, is like very robotic. You can tell like they spit it out of ChatGPT, pasted it in, and posted it. And so that's gonna not only not help your business, but it could hurt your website. You know, it's going to be pushed down because Google just doesn't like it. So
yeah. And here's the other question to ask, Stephanie. A lot of business owners, the main thing that they want in their business is more money, right? You want to make revenue. You don't want to just babysit your business and ask, get more clients by chasing them. You want to attract not only clients, you want to attract better premium clients in your business. So if your copy sounds like ChatGPT and it doesn't do anything for you, why do you think a high-level client will not be stepping on your doorstep? Because you're looking like everyone else. Your paintwork is rubbish, right?
Right.
So imagine if you were the one that was coming in and saying, you know what, if you want to attract premium clients, your copy needs to speak to premium clients in a human way, in ways that establishes emotions. It tells stories. There's nuances into what you're saying. It's not generic. It's not corporate. It's not safe, because safe stuff is what ChatGPT pretty much spills out.
Right.
So,
because it's just pulling from what's already out there. That's what AI does. That's what all those AI tools do. They're pulling from what's already out there. They can't come up with something 100% original, and that's the importance. And like you're saying, if you want a higher level of client, they are going to have that eye for like when they go to your website, they're going to have an eye on like whether your copy and your messaging is truly original, or if it's like, oh, this is at the very least, they're going to be like, this doesn't resonate, and like peace out, right? So
yeah, I know. Yeah, you're giving people more of an opportunity to say, yeah, no, thank you, rather than, okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I'm curious to see what your social media looks like. Are you nervous with my feedback, or are you like, let's go?
You can give your feedback. I already know, at the very least that I haven't been doing much on it, and I am planning to change that soon with these changes I'm making in my business. So
awesome. Right. So let's jump on to Stephanie's Instagram. All right. So we are on Instagram.com/Chabot Creative. Okay, Stephanie, when was the last time you posted?
Oh gosh. I think it was like February, March.
No. Okay. So obviously it's been a few months. I'm already seeing things immediately from the get-go, things you need to change. First of all, your Instagram picture. Right now, the borders are clashing with your jacket. So maybe have like a solid background, just so that you are in the face, your face is clearly seen. And then Stephanie, do not drop your last name. That's your whole brand right now. It's your whole brand, right? So Stephanie Chabot, copywriter fighting against ChatGPT. Like, let's be aggressive now, Stephanie. I want you to be the fighter on social media now. I want to see that fighter in you. And I want to see that girl loud, live. Well, maybe not loud, but I want you to be a little bit more aggressive with how you're showing up. Right now, it's very soft. I could tell you are going after that female market because of the very soft languages that you're using. But I feel like right now you are softening your image rather than being a little bit more harder and a little bit more aggressive. Was that done intentionally or not?
I don't think so. I think it depends what I'm talking about too. But I'm usually pretty, if you looked closer at like the captions and stuff, I tend to be direct with like a sense of humor. So
Yeah.
I usually try to work that in. I think it typically is like a balance, but it also might depend on what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, there's one really great thing. You have excellent engagement. You know, people are clearly seeing what you're talking about. Now we need to go deeper. We need to give people a reason for people to talk about you now, because your audience engagement is fantastic. Anything above 2 likes is great. Like social media is so competitive. Your audience, Stephanie, are eating up everything that you're saying. Now we need to give them an excuse to go, right, I need to follow this girl because she's saying things that I've been thinking about, but I haven't dared talk about yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole ChatGPT angle.
Right.
And I think also with some of the captions that you've got, you are really great at putting the captions, framing your reels. But again, the language feels a bit soft now. For example, 3 ways to reframe and refresh your copy today. Now we can say something like 3 ways ChatGPT dilutes your copy. Here's what the expert thinks. You know, you are the expert. We want people to say, you know what, she knows what she's talking about. And I want Stephanie to look at my copy because I think I'm making all of the same mistakes that she's talking about in her reels. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that.
All right. So, Stephanie, we are coming to a close now. What's the biggest breakthrough you've had with the Fairy BOSSmother today?
I think just talking more about, the next steps or next phase in my messaging with the AI and kind of going back. And I know we did talk about that with the original rebrand process last year, but, kind of talking about it again is like reigniting some of those ideas. So like I was saying, with the other changes and transitions I'm making in my business, I think I'm like more excited to like move forward, like have a bunch of ideas for content, have some more direction for this next step, working on generating new business and leads.
Yeah. How would you feel if you can accomplish everything that you and I have discussed in 100 days and less?
Awesome, especially because of the timeline I'm on.
Yeah. Guess what? It's possible because that's exactly what the next phase of your personal branding is all about. And you and I can talk about that in a little bit more detail afterwards. And what is the one thing that you're going to implement immediately, Stephanie? Like not on your to-do list. You're like, oh my God, shit, I better get this done now.
The things that out of the things we talked about today, I think the AI content and updating some of that messaging, because it's really funny. We talked about that so much. That was going to be, as I said, I want to restart, some of my social and just start getting out there for visibility again. And AI was going to be a theme, for my first like month worth of content. So I think like leaning into that more, which despite the rebrand, I hadn't done a lot of in my content. So I'm like excited to have all these ideas and be able to like start banging out some content now.
Yeah. And one last question for you, Stephanie. What surprised you about being on the Fairy BOSSmother Show?
I don't know if I am surprised because I know you so well and I knew you were gonna be tough on me, but I'm okay with it.
If there's one person that can take a beating, it's Stephanie. No. I take that back because Stephanie is like, you better not touch her because she will do. So was it one of your friends that broke a tooth or something, or you hurt someone, or
not me?
Not you. Okay, I'm thinking of one girl. Okay.
Luckily, I don't hurt my training partners.
I haven't hurt ChatGPT if you use it wrong.
I will beat up ChatGPT for you. Again, I mean, no, I think this was great. It was a great conversation. I don't know if I was surprised by anything except, well, I don't even want to say I'm surprised because you always give me great ideas and stuff to go off of. So I think, and I say that obviously in a positive light of like, I knew we were going to have some cool outcomes from our conversation today.
Yeah. Well, Stephanie, one last thing. Stephanie, can you reintroduce yourself? Who are you and what do you do? I want to see you punching, girl. Let's go. Give me that energy.
Yeah, I am Stephanie Chabot. I own Chabot Creative, and I am a copywriter offering copywriting services from Chabot.
No. We're gonna start again. No, you're using the same tagline that you always do. I want you to go outside of your box now, right? Think of the fighter within you, Stephanie. I want to see that fighter. I want to see you on the map, but now you're on social media, on a podcast, talking about your business, like you're about to punch the screen. I want that level of intensity from you because you know you are better than ChatGPT.
Okay.
Maybe we need to take a deep breath just to like, I'm getting hyped up for you. All right, let's take a deep breath.
I'm like sweating.
I am too. All right, Stephanie, who are you and what do you do?
I am Stephanie Chabot and I own Chabot Creative. I'm a copywriter that helps you stand out and beat up the competition that is using ChatGPT and other AI tools so you can stand out and not get lost in the sea of non-original, generic, overdone content.
All right, I'm going to do one last exercise with you, Stephanie. I want you, all right, this is going to be really like outside of your comfort zone now.
Oh, great.
All right, so let's loosen up, you know? Let's loosen up,
Okay.
listen up. Come on, girl, listen up. Right, fighter mode is on, Stephanie. I want you to, don't be all cute on camera. Come on, hands down, girl. Hands down. Hands down. You're a fighter now. Okay, I want you to look right in the eye at the camera.
Okay.
Right, I want you to say, I'm Stephanie Chabot and I eat ChatGPT for lunch.
Okay. I'm Stephanie Chabot and I eat ChatGPT for lunch.
Yeah, you know what?
I can't do it without laughing, but
I'll give you a C+ for that.
I'll work on it.
You worked on it. Well, Stephanie, it was awesome having you on the show. You have so much going on your business. I want to see the next part of your brand growing now because I think we've laid the foundation. Clearly, your foundation is still very much intact. Now it's building off that foundation and getting you out there talking about things in a little bit more boldness and aggressive. Fighter spirit, girl. You can do it. I believe in you.
Thank you. Yeah, this was awesome. Thanks, Telling.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Fairy BOSSmother Show and you're a small business owner, apply to be a guest on the show and get your very own live brand review. You can apply by going to my website, www.bossdiplomat.com, or snap the QR code on this video. See you soon.